You're watching KLTX, Channel 15, serving the city of Lufkin.
Well, good evening, everyone. I've got time is now 5:30 p.m., so we'll go ahead and we'll call the meeting to order and get started. We've got one more board member who I'm sure she'll be here shortly, but we will go ahead and get started with tonight's meeting. First of all, I'd like to welcome all our guests tonight and also the board members to our September Animal Advisory Board meeting. The first item on the agenda, we would like to recognize two individuals tonight for some extremely hard work. Am I talking too loud out there? I see. Okay. I want to recognize two people tonight. One volunteer and one of my staff members for some outstanding work over the last really 4 months. Many of you know during these last 4 months, our summer time period, May, June, July, August are our highest intake months out of the year, and it's every year it's the same way. We're just completely overwhelmed with animals, and they come in, we're bombarded, they come in constantly. But these two individuals worked very hard, tirelessly, from the time they came into the shelter every day, and then even after hours. I'm sure they were conducting coordination, answering emails, and just constantly working diligently to rehome many animals that have come in, and we were able to, through their efforts, we're able to save many lives that were otherwise wouldn't have had a chance. So I'm gonna ask these two individuals to come forward. I'm gonna put them on the spot. I know that they probably don't want to be recognized because they're that humble of individuals. But I want to bring them forward and present an award. I'm gonna step down to the floor a minute.
Yeah.
Just to give you a little more background, so I'll start with Diane. And Diane, I didn't know Diane until about probably 4 months ago, 5 months ago. She came in as a volunteer. Immediately went to work, rolled up her sleeves, came in, and just started volunteering and doing many great things, from walking our dogs, exercising them, socializing them, and just doing all those great things that volunteers do when they come to our shelter. But along with that, she also brought some rescue networks, some organizations that we've never worked with before, and some big organizations that she knew could provide a lot of help to the shelter. And she brought that in, and then between Diane and you guys know Carol. Carol is our rescue coordinator for the city of Lufkin. They worked like a well-oiled machine together to make this happen. And the amount of work that goes into it is tremendous. It's constant back and forth between these different organizations, constant emails, coordination. A lot of trips back and forth to the vet's office to vet these animals, and then all the paperwork and everything that goes along with them to get them properly out the door. So for all that, we'd like to present 2 certificates of appreciation for all their great work. I'm gonna read the citations just to highlight their efforts and all their work. So the first one I'd like to present to Diane. It says, presented for exceptional support to the Kurth Memorial Animal Shelter and City of Lufkin Animal Services. Nothing can adequately show our appreciation and gratitude for your tireless efforts and dedication to the homeless animals of Angelina County. Your steadfast commitment and hard work saved the lives of a countless number of animals during the shelter's peak months for animal intakes. Your dedication to the community is commendable and honorable and reflects great credit upon yourself, the Kurth Memorial Animal Shelter, and the City of Lufkin.
Hold it just a little longer.
I've got one more. I've got one more to present. So again, Carol's been with the city how many years? About 4 years now. Carol has a background of many different positions within animal welfare. She's worked at a veterinarian's office before. She was an animal control officer as well, and then she's in her current position, which is our rescue coordinator and animal care attendant supervisor. So we couldn't do what we do without her. She's a key part of our team, and we appreciate her very much. So I'd like to read her citation. It says, presented for meritorious achievement while serving as a rescue coordinator with City of Lufkin Animal Services, your selfless dedication to duty and professionalism were instrumental in saving the lives of countless number of animals from Angelina County during peak animal intake conditions. Your hard work and efforts helped turn the tide of what was an unwinnable situation for many animals in our shelter. Your actions reflect great credit upon yourself and the City of Lufkin of Animal Services. The floor is yours if you have some words. So.
Talk about putting me on the spot. I don't really have anything other to say other than without Diane, this couldn't have been possible. Her hard work and her networking has really helped me with my job because I had so much on my plate other than just rescue work. So I really needed some support.
And still does.
Yeah, so it still does, but so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you. But networking doesn't make a difference when you have somebody that just boots on the ground. You know, I give her the list and it gets done. So I mean, that's it. It is a team effort for sure, and everybody else too. Everybody at the shelter house is from the top to the bottom, and very rarely do you walk into a place like that as a volunteer and get 100% support. 100%.
Yeah, we all work hard.
There's not one person. I don't care if it's the person cleaning cages, whatever we need doing to get those dogs out, our cats, they're on it. Without any resentment, without anything. So that's what's rare. From the top to the very bottom. Yeah, there. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very proud of her.
Awesome place, yes.
Thank you guys. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. And I'll also say there's so many other people here that over the years that have done a lot for the shelter and deserve to be recognized. There's just too many for us to name tonight, but there's so many things people do behind the scenes that deserve a lot of credit as well, that affect some of the great things that are going on at the shelter. So we're very appreciative of everybody's work, and you guys know it takes a team effort to really make progress, so we appreciate it very much. All right, we'll go ahead and we're going to move on to our second item on the agenda. First of all, does any other audience members like to make a comment on any of the agenda items before we start? Okay. We'll go ahead and we will move on to item number 2, and that's review and discuss our state shelter annual inspection. If the board members would turn in their packet to a copy of the state's findings. The shelter was inspected. This is our annual. We're inspected twice a year. By the state zoonosis control Department of State Health Services. This was our last inspection conducted in July. These are the results of the inspection. For the board members, I'm just going to highlight there were 6 items that were noted on the report, and I'd like to go through those items and just discuss those. Overall, the inspection went fine. We were rated as satisfactory. There's only 2 ratings you can get. It's either satisfactory or unsatisfactory. So, and the shelter was rated satisfactory. At the time of the inspection, we were housing 117 cats and 88 dogs at the facility. And then, of course, with all their great work over the summer, we actually moved a lot of those out of there. So again, we want to thank you very much for your work. The first item that I'm going to talk about that was noted on the inspector's report was our isolation room. We have an area where we isolate sick animals if we suspect anything or we notice that there's something wrong. And in that's a room that has kennels in there. And at the time, we were also housing cats in there as well and using it as our cat isolation. But we were notified. The state asked us to. They wanted us to separate the cats and dogs out of that area. So we have since actually corrected that. The cat area has now been moved to a different location, so we don't isolate them both in the same area. So again, I don't consider this a major issue. It's just something we corrected, and it was no issue. So the second item. It was noted that there were places in the floor where the sealant has peeled up, and what they're asking that they suggest that we reseal those areas. That was mainly in what we call the new building area. The original part of the facility was redone about 4 years ago, which was a major project. We spent about $100,000, if you remember, to reseal all of the flooring in the original part of the facility. What they're referring to in this report is what we call the new building, which was built later in 2008, and that flooring has not been redone since it was first constructed. So there's some areas in there where the epoxy flooring is coming up, and they just needs to be resealed. So we're looking at probably patching. It's not bad enough, I don't think, where we have to go in and completely, like we did the original part of the facility, and remove all of the flooring and put complete new flooring down. I think we can go in and probably just patch the areas where they're referring to. So that's in the works with our city engineers. We're looking at how we're going to fix that problem. The next item number 3 that was annotated, and this actually has since been completed. This was the kennel grates or drains with the drain covers. At the time the state inspected, the project wasn't complete, and so at the end of July, beginning of August, LGL was the contractor that we used we install kennel drains in our facility. And that project was actually completed August the 25th. So that has been taken care of as well. And that was an ongoing project really for the whole year that we were trying to accomplish. And we did get it done August the 25th. It was completed. Item number 4, have some ceiling tiles that had some water damage, and we had some. They're actually missing because I think we were in the process of replacing those, and we hadn't reinstalled those. So there's a few missing ceiling tiles, but we will have those replaced. And then item number 5 was fans and AC grates need to be cleaned. What they're referring to is our HVAC system and some of the air conditioner ducts. They notice there's a lot of hair, cat hair, dog hair, and that stuff gets caught in there. They needed to be cleaned out, and that's something that's an easy fix, and we'll make sure we accomplish that. And the last item, number 6, that they annotated on the report was we, at the time in our food room, we have a food storage room where we store all of our cat litter and food. And I think we had some extra food in there or some extra donations, and we had some on a pallet. So they just suggested that, for ease of cleaning, make sure all that stuff's off the floor and on the shelves. But so if you look at the items, in my opinion, there was nothing here that was significant as far as major repairs that need to be done. Are there any questions or concerns from the board members on the physical state of the shelter?
Congratulations on getting the drains done.
Yes, that was a project that has been ongoing a long time. what you find in these facilities a lot of times is when they're designed, the facilities is 20 years old. It was built in 1998. Sorry. 1998. But what you find is when, as these facilities age, of course, there's a ton of wear and tear because of all the sanitation, all the cleaning that happens daily. And sometimes when you have to go in and do, I call it aftermarket or major repairs or anything like that, it's hard to find the people that do that work because the over time, with the way the kennels are built and the way everything's constructed, things shift, and it's just very difficult to get right fit. So it was as simple as it sounds about putting in drains. It's actually a lot of work to find somebody who specialized in this and can do it properly. So, are there any other questions from any of the board members on the inspection? Okay. Moving on to item number 3 on the agenda is the director's report for current animal statistics or intakes, current statistics. If the board members will take their packets and turn to the graphs that are included. The first thing we track is intake, which is obviously very important statistic for us to track. What you're looking at is a FY19 and FY20 comparison, and we're almost, the data you're looking at is almost a full year of data. I ran the numbers on September, I believe, the 17th. So we're about 2 weeks shy of a full year of data. So the numbers you're looking at are really not going to fluctuate much between now and the end of the fiscal year, which is new year begins 1 October. So for intake, I just want to highlight, we have had a really good year. Actually, overall, we have an 18% decrease in our animal intake. It's almost 1,000 animals, 881. FY19, we were 4,902, and then right now we're sitting at 4,021. So just a couple of things to highlight on the graphics. We started out the year, I was very concerned because if you look at the graph, for the first 5 months, compared to the previous year, our intakes were higher. So of course that's always a concern when your numbers are going up. But we hit March, and I'm sure the pandemic this is what affected part of these numbers. We hit March, and if you look at March, everything started to fall off, and we've had this summer has been a really low summer, relatively speaking, and plus all the work that everybody's done to help move these animals out of here, but just intakes alone have been lower. So that's very positive to finish the year at almost a 20% decrease as far as the numbers. I think once we roll everything up, I think it's probably going to be the best year we have or close to it. I have to go back and look at the data. So that's very positive that our numbers have gone down. So any questions on intakes? Okay, the next thing we'd like to look at is our adoption and our rescue comparison. Just to highlight a few things. Again, this is almost a full year worth of data. We're looking at a 12% increase for adoptions and rescues, and those two, I combine those two. So for FY 2019, we did a total of 1,358. That's animals adopted plus went to rescue. And then for 2020, we're sitting at 1,529. And again, those numbers were cut off around the 17th of September, so you're looking at about 2 more weeks of data to compare. But overall, it's a 12% increase. If you look at the chart, we were at the beginning of October. it was kind of up and down. If you look at each month, October, November, we had an increase versus last year, slight decrease in December, slight increase in January, and then where the big impact has been made has been over this summer through all the animals we got out through rescue. And I have the numbers from June. This is rescue alone from June, July, August, and September. Just rescue alone was 455 animals that we were able to get out of the shelter and rehome and go to places where they had an opportunity to find a home. And that's rescue alone. And then, so that's actually the adoption, that's what really helped us this year, because our adoptions, once the pandemic hit, our adoptions fell off significantly. And if it wasn't for all the work that the rescue organizations, then these numbers wouldn't look the way they look right now. So we are still adopting animals out. We're still doing some great things. We had an event back in August for Clear the Shelter that we took part in. It's a national adoption event, and we adopted a lot out then. But again, the pandemic really hurt our numbers for adoption, obviously. So any question on the numbers as far as rescue and adoptions are concerned? Okay, the next statistic we'd like to look at is the euthanasia comparison. This is really good news. We are showing a 28% decrease overall compared to last year, which is a huge decrease in my mind. So, and just some analysis on this piece of it. It's overall, so for 2019, we came in at 2,889 animals that were euthanized, unfortunately. And this year, we're at 2,068. So again, that's over a 800 animal increase, almost 1,000 animal difference in euthanasia for the year. So, and again, that's just everybody working together to try to find alternatives to euthanasia through adoption and rescue and all those things that many people are playing a part in this within the community to help these numbers. So that's definitely very positive news for the shelter. Any questions on euthanasia? Okay, the last thing we're going to look at is we track return to owner. And you're going to see there is a decrease. There's a 20% decrease for return to owner, but that's in line with a big reason that is down is because that's about 1,000 less animals that we have actually entered the shelter. So it's going to naturally be down because we have a significant amount of less animals coming in. So we have about 1,000 animal difference coming in. So that return to owner is going to be down. We're doing a lot of good things to try to reunite these animals with their owners. We started the microchipping this year, which that has we've had some cases where we were able that's definitely helped. And so between the microchipping and just trying to track down as much as we can with the information that we have where these animals belong, whether it's in the field or at the shelter, we're trying to reunite these animals. But any questions on return to owner? Okay. All right, that's all I have for the statistics report out. If there are no questions from the board members, the last thing that I would like to move to is just a quick report on three main areas within the shelter: our facility staff and some of our shelter events, both past and what we have upcoming. For the facility, the main significant things to report, of course, we talked about already, the drain project was complete. For FY21, our next big project is the refurbishment of our livestock pens. That was a project that was approved this upcoming budget, which begins October 1st. So we've already had we're starting to put that together. We've had some some folks come out and we got some estimates together to look at what that's going to cost and all that. What we're doing is in the back of our facility, most of you know, we house livestock and it's in much need of refurbishment. There's some safety issues with the fencing and things of that nature. So we're looking to complete that this year. And we've started putting quotes together and starting to put a plan together for that. For the staff, my staffing level is 11. I'm authorized 11 personnel on my staff. We're actually in the process of hiring. We've got one open position right now, and we had another open position that was being filled part-time, but we just turned that over to a full-time position. And then come 1 October, this second open position we have will be filled with a full-time personnel. So that'll bring me back up to where to what I'm authorized. And then we currently have one out on medical leave who we expect to come back within the next a couple of months. So that's positive with the staffing situation that we're working our way back up to being fully staffed. With the shelter events, I just want to highlight any questions on the facility from the board members or on the staffing. Okay. I want to highlight a couple of shelter events and some things that are coming up. We did participate in Clear the Shelters, which took place from all of the month of August, and we adopted out and sent to rescue combined, those two numbers combined, 162 animals in August for that event. So that was a lot of hard work by many people to make all that happen. So that was very successful. There was because of the pandemic, normally that's a one-day event where we have Miss James, and she does a great year every year. It's a big fundraiser, and of course with the pandemic, we just obviously for safety reasons, and we just couldn't pull that off this year. But the good news is we still did participate in the national event, and we were able to rehome a lot of animals. So some of the other events coming up, October 9th, Hudson Middle School is coming out to the shelter. They have a volunteer day. They're sending a group of middle school students out to help. We'll put them to work on some tasks at the shelter for their volunteer day, and they're going to help us out. We've been doing weekly, I call them featurettes, where our media team, the City of Lufkin's media team, they come out to our shelter and we highlight an adoptable animal. My assistant director and I, we both feature an animal, and it gets posted on several social media outlets. So that's something positive. We're trying to bring awareness to the animals in our shelter, and so that's been going on, and I think it's helping. Another big event coming up, October 1st, is our Adopt a Dog Month, which is an annual event we do every October, where we reduce our adoption fees for the month of October to half price, and we promote all our animals. We get the media involved. We get the Lufkin newspaper involved. They advertise for us, and again, it's just to help promote the animals for adoption that are in our shelter. That lasts all the month of October. That's coming up. And then our last big event scheduled right now is, we call it Home for the Holidays. It's a national drive that begins. We usually start it after adoption. It's a 3-month drive. I think it really begins in October, the national event, but we take part in that, and then again we reduce our adoption fees, and we promote our adoption drive during those months. And in the past, it's been successful to help us rehome animals. So those are just a few of the events coming up that we have. Are there any questions on the shelter events or anything going on at my facility from the board members? Okay. All right. The last item on the agenda, do any board members have any announcements or any future agenda items that they would like to put on the agenda for our next Animal Advisory Board meeting? Okay. All All right. Well, this concludes our Animal Advisory Board meeting. Again, I want to thank you very much for coming out and your support. And again, I want to thank Carol and Diane for all their hard work. It's well deserved, the recognition tonight. And I know there's many others out there that are doing great things, and we'd like to recognize those folks too. I just ask that you continue the good work that you're doing out there to help the community, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.